Hello, welcome or welcome back. So I somehow achieved this, and I'm gonna walk you through it without tearing it apart because we're sitting pretty good right now. But there's a video. I'm gonna put a link in the description. I believe his channel is the higher you crawl, the further you fall. He's got a 10-minute video on these that was very helpful. He covers most of everything, so I don't think I have to talk about much of it. So when you get these, they're assembled-ish, and this end pops off, and then you're gonna unscrew this diff housing, and then when you take the diff housing and these ends off, these two pieces pop apart. And then once you've got those apart, you're gonna take this piece, and there's two small bearings. One goes on the inside, one goes on the outside. Grease your bearings. I'm using Lucas green. I usually use red, but then I learned it's for like high temp, and I put it in everything anyway. It's probably fine, but I think this is more universal, and I read that this provides more coverage against water than possibly red. I don't know. I know blue is marine grease, is specifically for water all the way, but I heard this is kind of like a medium, like a well-rounded, so I'm gonna try this with this for the first time and see how it goes. Anyway, so there's gonna be two bearings. They're gonna be this size. There's two sizes. There's large and small. You're gonna use all the small in your rear axle. So put some grease on your bearings and on the inside of the housing to help them like slide in. But before you do that, check your diff housing. I had to scrape mine with a straight slot because there was a little bit of like burring from machining, so the bearing might not have sat flush. It was not a big deal, but check yours just in case. And then yeah, just put some grease on the inside and the outside as a diff cover to help the bearing slide in, and then maybe just like put a little bit on the outside face. I just used a Q-tip, but don't use the cotton ball because you might leave, fur behind, and so I switched to the stick. Okay, so the guy on the higher you crawl, the further you fall, he has you build your drive shafts first, and after doing this all, I definitely see why, because I pretty much voided the instructions. I watched his video, and then I played trial and error, and then I took these things, and I just said, later. And anyway, so there's a small brass pinion gear, and you're gonna get that out of the bag and then stick that through this way so that the rod comes out here, and if you have any grease on it excess, wipe that off. Use your thumb to keep it pushed back, right? And then take your pre-built drive shaft and slide it on, and then put your grub screw in. Don't Loctite it just yet, but put it in. I ended up putting the fat half on the bottom. I did not pay attention. Maybe the skinny half, I don't know. But you'll have to reference his video. By the time I caught it, he had already passed it, and I was like, well, we're here. But I did it this way. And then, yeah, once you have these connected, right, set it aside. And then back to this. Rewind my brain. So now, okay, yeah. So now these are in two halves, right? And then you got a long shaft. There's two sizes. There's a short one and a long one. You're gonna take the long one. You're gonna drop it in this trough, like axle tray, whatever. You're gonna see that, like, if you put it one way, the middle notch for the flat spot for the grub screw is either gonna be like in the axle tube or in the diff hub. And so obviously you want it to orientate so that it's here. And then in your bag, there's the larger gear. You're gonna slide that on so that it makes sense, so that the collar is closer to the flat spot, and then try and center it, and then take your thumbs, and you're gonna notice that these rod ends, you probably didn't drop them in evenly. So try and push the axle rod so that each end is flush or as close to, while also maintaining a free spinning place within the tolerance of the diff housing. And like, this is where it was weird for me. I swore that you would want the tall gear end to be where the tall housing is cut out, but actually it goes on the shallower side, which I thought I was crazy for doing it, and then it worked. So yeah, but anyway, once you get the ends of your axle shaft centered on the bottom half, and then you get your gear centered in a place where you think it looks good, take a grub screw, don't put any Loctite on it because you're gonna move this, and then tighten it down, right? And then kind of like hold your thumb over one of the open halves, and then kind of like run it back and forth and see if it hits the bottom at all, or take the other half and put it on and kind of squeeze them together and kind of do that with the gear and play with it until it doesn't hit anything inside. Once you've got it to a good place inside, tighten it down with Loctite, and then yes, and there's 4 bearings, so you're going to take 2 on each side. One goes on there's like a notch, you can clearly see one drops in there, and then there's like a little piece of axle, and then one kind of drops in outside of that. So they don't both squeeze in here, they like bam bam on both sides. So take your axle rod back out once you've got, it's, where you want it to sit. Put the bearings on, drop it back in. You could have done that before. I forgot. I'm trying to go by memory before I forget all of this. It's been a long morning. And then, yeah, so once you've got the bearings on, your diff gear is spinning freely, and your axle ends are flush, protruding on each side fairly as close to even as you can eyeball it. I just eyeballed it. Once you have all that done, take the other half of your housing, pop it on, and now take your drive shaft and your diff housing, right? And you'll see it only orientates one way because the pinion gear is more to one side than the other. So take the pinion gear to one side to line up with your drive gear, diff gear, whatever, to the other side. And once you find that orientation, put them together and then spin the drive shaft. What I noticed is it wasn't smooth for me right away. I don't know what your experience is going to be. In the video, the guy suggested to use 2. I used 2 of the paper gaskets, these things, and that happened to work for me perfectly. You may need 1, you may need 3, you may need none. I don't know. They're here. What I did is just kind of like, I took one of these and just like punched out these little pieces, right? Because these are gonna go over, there's like little things on your diff housing, and they're gonna fall in line in here. So don't tear these. Just take something thin and pop it out like that, and then the centerpiece, push that out too. And then once you have it all, I'll just do it. I don't know, it's probably horrible lighting right now, but anyway. Once you take all the pieces out, it'll look like this. They're like, nah man, we're not leaving the Chads. The electoral votes, WPL Chads. Bro, these things really just like live here. He's determined. well, you know, don't probably put yours down and don't be dumb like me. But it'll look like that when you're done. And then you're gonna put this piece on this piece. He said 2, I used 2, and then you can just hold it together. You don't have to put this piece on yet. Just squeeze these 2 pieces together like this, and then push this face on with the 2 gaskets. Kind of do that with your fingers, you know what I'm saying? And when I did it, it felt good, so I wasn't playing. I wasn't going back to 1. I wasn't going to 3. I was like, we're here, we're staying. So once you do that and you figure out it's all good, let's see, what next? Okay, yeah. So then throw some grease on your pinion gear, and then when you put these together, before you put this diff cover on, put some more grease on the drive gear. And then, so I don't know if his video, I kind of like, I half pay attention while like pre-freaking out in my head, but I don't even know if this is right. I'm just assuming, so hopefully. But in this bag, the screws that you're gonna pull out of these, you will find oh yeah, well, I guess when you put them in from that side. So yeah, I found the 4 longest ones, or 8 longest ones, I guess, and use those. They might have put these in the bag for something else and I'm in trouble. We're gonna find out. But I thought these shorter ones wouldn't work with the length added of the gasket, so these were sent there to compensate. But yep, probably gonna find out the hard way later. But anyway, so once you have this back together, you're gonna like, oh, okay, don't do that yet. Before you put this together, there's these little axle pieces that also have grub screws. So you're gonna put those on the ends of the axles that also have flat spots, and then you're gonna tighten the grub screws down. And so back up before the grease stuff. Don't do that yet. Shit. Okay. Well, we're going. Anyway, yeah, so put those on the flat spots. Put it in the axle tray, right? And then put the halves together without this and without this. Back to that part. And just have them like this and spin them. I think I had to adjust mine and like pull them out a little bit, because like if you have them too far in, they pinch this housing and they're a little harder to turn. This is like nice and free. It might even could be better, I don't know. It only has that noise when you spin it from the axle, but when you spin it from here, it's quiet, so I don't know. Anyway, good luck following this. I apologize. See, this is why I don't really make these, because I'll write notes and then I'll start talking at the bottom of the page, and so it won't matter. We'll get lost anyway. But once you get these on into a place where these don't pinch either side and it spins pretty nicely to you, go back, put this on, bam, you got your paper gaskets, spin it, you know, use your fingers like that, everything feels good, cool. And then put this on. I went and used the longest screws in there. Maybe don't do that, maybe do that, I don't know. But if you look, these, well, I mean, they don't really provide a lot of grab actually. So I would suggest do what I do and grab the 8 longest ones. There's gonna be ones in there that are longer than this. Find those and use those for these, I think. Then you're gonna put these on. They remind me of like nothing on them. It reminds me of like railroad or like train axles or something. Pop these bad boys back on. And yeah. So that was the back one. And then somehow we like, I don't know, ADHD blacked out and just, I don't know, but basically do the same thing except for where things get different here is your ends for the front are like CVs, they turn, so those are gonna obviously go in the front, you know. Same thing, you're gonna have to play with them, moving them in and out, and you know, pinch them against the housing and get them spaced to where they spin freely and your center gear is spinning freely. Nothing about the front there's only one bearing, so don't freak out. So on the rear axle you have two, you put two on each side. In the front there's only one per side on the internals, right? Same thing though, the axle rod is the shorter one. It's only going to go one way. If you put it one way, the flat spot's going to be in the diff housing, so flip it, line it up, bam. Slide your gear on, put your grub screw, you don't even mess with that right now, just put it on and then get it to where you think you want it, then put your grub screw in. You can, if you want to, put your bearings on at this point and then set it back down. Make sure it's spinning within the housing. Again, you want it on the shallow side, even though there's a larger cutout and you're like, yep, the teeth go there for sure. Don't know why on mine it doesn't, but maybe yours does. I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm just telling you about my experience. And yeah, put these ends on, pinch your axle housing together. Mine, I put them on too far and they pinched, so I had to play with them. And once you get these nice, you get your center gear nice, same thing, take the diff housing, run your pinion gear through it after you put the two bearings in with the grease, hold the pinion in with your thumb, come from in the back or whatever, put your drive shaft on, throw the grub screw on, make sure it's on the flat spot. Now, I also had to use two in the front. Your experience could be different, so play with it. You might want to play with it on the front and back with this on, because mine kind of free spun nicely with no gaskets until I put this on. So actually, if it spins nicely with no gaskets before I make you mad, put the red one on and make sure it still does it. Just not like screw it down, just like put it together with your thumb, you know, because I think something about that will expose whether or not. And I think that exposed, we needed two more gaskets to pull it back a little bit, because I think it might have been touching the housing, is what that might be. Anyway, if you're still following, you're a champion. So these are on, one bearing, that's inside, that's all on, bam, bam. Your tolerances here is good because you use two gaskets, awesome. And then you're gonna have these in the bag. You want the arms facing forward, and then you have four large bearings, same thing, one inside, one outside. I use some grease on the inside and the outside of the plastic to help the bearings slide in. If you can't get them to slide in, I use the battery or the end of this to kind of like, not together though, separately. Don't burn your house down. I use this for the rear axle bearings on the diff houses, or yeah, the back side of the diff housings. For the big bearings, I just use this. You could probably use something that's not a flammable power device. But yeah, and then yeah, so then you're gonna pop your four bearings in and then slide it over your doodads. And there's four brass couplings. You're gonna drop down in there and then use some short screws that you swear aren't gonna work, but they do. One side was tight, so I took some of the green grease and I kind of like put it on the hole and around the little brass coupling, and it like popped right in, but for whatever reason one side didn't want to go in. And then yeah, so then, since we're here, we got the steering done. I don't know if it matters, but of course, I have 50-50, 100. If I have a 50% chance, I have a 100% chance of picking the wrong one. But I put my steering on with the diff housing upside down, and I was going to flip the diff housing, and I was like, hey, these are universal, I think, so cool. So I just popped these off because that was quicker. Anyway, you're going to build your two steering links. You're going to have a bent one, and I believe this is the orientation that you want the curve up to face out, and then the flat spot is just flat like that. I don't know how far in or out to adjust this one yet because I'm not there, so it just is where it is. But when you build your bottom one, you're going to notice that matters, because if you want these straight, you're going to have to play with the length. I left about three threads and one thread off. And you'll see what I'm talking about when you do this. I tightened that one down fully and this one down fully, and then they were kind of cockeyed. So then you got to let one out to kind of fix the other one. If you let it out too far, the other one starts to get goofy. But basically, I picked a side, and I was like, I want this one to be 12 o'clock, right? And then if you look at your other one, and if it's not at 12 o'clock, it's because this is either too short or too long. So you're either going to back... I backed one end off. You probably should do both. Maybe geometry, symmetry, I don't know, probably both. I just did one end. There's so much thread there, it doesn't probably matter, but just play with it until these both sit as straight as you want to sit there and mess with it for it. My brain won't let me. These are pretty damn straight because it took me like 10 minutes, but we got there. And then these are kind of confusing, and I don't know if I have this right yet, so probably just take this with a grain of salt. But there's 2 holes on each side, and to kind of make this make sense, and I might still be wrong, I put these 2 on, you'll see there's a front hole and a back hole. I put these stacked on top of each other. Oh yeah, you're gonna have some ball ends, some brass ball ends. Just pop those in, use a pair of pliers or whatever. You probably use your hands, I don't know. I just use pliers. Sweet, landscaping's here, always. Thank you, dude. He's like, you're making a video? Alright, I got you, bro. See? He's awesome. Anyway. So yeah, and then you're gonna find a long enough screw that's gonna go through both of these, and in here, my steering is straight, but I went to the second hole with the stack and the first front hole with the singular end, and I don't know if, since I put this one in the back, if I should put this one in the back too, or if they both go in the front, but I saw something in the instructions that kind of looked like that, so I'll let you know, I guess. Or somebody watching this can let me know, because the instructions are for plastic, and you think that it ends there, but like the way the axles mount aren't the same, I don't think, because like the plastic axles have like nubs on them that these don't, so I just had to figure it out, and here we are. I don't know how long this is gonna be, but yeah. Anyway, it works. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, if I fucked up, it's functional, but I don't know if you want both of these to be like out and out, or like in and out, or in and in. Somebody let me know in the comments. That this is my first one I've ever built. I don't own any. I was trying to reference my other ones, and then yeah, that's useless too because they have plastic. They're all RTR. So question for the community as well while we're here. So once you get your axles built, oh yeah, you can just that truss from the chassis. You just set that down on top of the axles and then put the 2 screws through, and then I think, because I did it, so then you're gonna have 4 of these, and then I put, get out of my white grease, and I put these on the back side, and it like drops down, so it fits snug on, like you can feel it like snap down a little bit. So I think they live there, and then it creates more housing for your screws, and you get something like this. Yep, this is how far we are. Loctite all your grub screws once you get them where you want them. Until you have them where you want them, for sure don't do that. They're not bad to get out, but it's not simple or fun. But I use blue, maybe use purple, but I use blue. And if I need these back out, you can take a soldering iron, and like if I fucked up, like if I put too much on there, you can take the tip of a soldering iron and put it there, and I guess it like breaks down the latex, and then you can back these back out. I didn't know that, and I ruined a $180 set of beadlock and tire combo from like 2021. Some Hobby Soul 2.2s on these really cool green rims with like hubcap cover things, and yeah, I had to drill them out because, well, I thought I had to drill them out because I didn't know any of the cool tricks. So I broke like 3 drill bits, and then I went and bought like the gold ones you saw, and I think those ones got it out. But like I had to buy some like dummy strength bits. I don't know what kind of screws Hobby Soul uses, but bro, bravo. Whatever screws you use on those 2.2s, bravo. So yeah, I figured since I got this far, I should probably stop. That way I could show you these and the axle off. So for once this video is done, or I guess we'll just, why's it gotta be done? Yep, so my lettering is up. I guess we'll just do it right now. Yeah. Hey, we're doing some live building instead of just spazzing out. Fuck. I wasn't gonna do any of this today, so I'm shocked we're even here. What I like to do is not grab your 1.5 when it's Phillips. Start these because the plastic's a little tight. And you can feel it when it drops down into the axle. Don't push it all the way through because you gotta put those little plastic pieces on the backside. Drive them down like 3/4 of the way. This thing's pretty cool because it's got like the end spin, so you can just like palm it and pop, 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 pop. $12 Walmart. Actually, I think this was like $8 to be fair. Alright, and then yeah, you'll see what I'm saying. Like, take that, pop it over that, and just kind of hold it, and then draw these down. After this, probably gonna post this, and then I'm probably gonna come back to this and realize I made a mistake somewhere. Maybe. Hopefully not. But if we did get lucky, that would be great, because I could definitely use some not mixed struggling. Oh yeah, real quick before I forget. So some of these grub screws, I don't know if it was just me putting them in at a stupid angle, but when you're trying to put them in on the diff gear, the tall diff gear inside the housing, sometimes it feels like they don't want to go in, like they're too small, or like your hole is like warped out and something's wrong. It's not. I don't know if all of these are machined equally, So if one doesn't work out, try grabbing another one. If that doesn't work out, grab another one. And that one might, because I had to switch them up. It could have just been my angle. It could have been the way it was sitting on my driver. I don't know. But if you have that problem, you're going to have leftovers. So don't trip, chocolate chip. I have a... Don't know what that's for, but got one. I was going to say, usually you have one of everything left over, but I have one of those just like period, so... Oh yeah, I don't even know. Damn. I don't know how much you could have seen of this. I might have been out of frame. Probably should have. Well, I mean, I can't see the camera anyway, but I just... Shit. I didn't know how far back. So, sorry if you visually missed a lot. We're gonna find out a lot today. Oh, don't put that all the way down. And... Shit. It's weird. The plastic is tighter than the metal. I guess, which is fine, because you don't gotta worry about messing your threads up or nothing. Plastic's not gonna win that war. And if it did, some crazy ass plastic. Pop these little, just kind of hold it. Yeah, just kind of hold it with your finger. And then with this one, I also put the fat end on the diff housing versus the fat end on the trans side. But I think that's okay. I think those go on the transmission side. Okay, so this is sloppy right now because I think once you put the motor and transmission pan and then the other thing, and then I'm probably gonna play with these links more. I've got them pretty loose for a lot of like mobility, but yeah, if I should somebody let me know if this is okay, because I tried to look online. It doesn't matter. I'm like the only one that can't find. Yeah, anyway. Claptrap says we're getting there. Yeah. Where's the... I think maybe after this we'll take a small break. Maybe I'll make a run video and we can go pick up the body. And bring it back. I don't know. I still gotta paint it, but it wants to rain all week, so... Oh yeah, I don't think you need this. I used it to pop the bearings back out. Oh yeah. So you need the 1.5mm driver for your grub screws and to unseat or reseat your bearings carefully. Purple or blue Loctite. Grease. They do provide it. I have this. I just noticed we got some shims over here. Either didn't need them or don't need them. Fingers crossed. Alright. Yeah, I'm just gonna go. Have a great day. thanks for watching. I wasn't gonna make this. I didn't think I was gonna get this far. And I was gonna stop and start recording, but I was like, we're already here. And then my brain was like, well, what are you gonna do about it later? And then we're like, we don't hear you. And then, yeah, so this is what we get. This is Northern Lights RC. At least it's honest. Have a great day. Stay blessed.